Yo, what's up guys? You got pokeaim here with another Pokemon Sword and Shield moveset video guide on how to use Morpeko. Nah, I had to say it like that, man. Shout out to my boy Scoot.
Cause I was in hangry mode, violent out, I could explode. Pockets now full belly though, hunger switched, I see them.
Show if y'all didn't see the Pokemon cipher, feel free to check it out. But I love Morpeko. I love that its hands are in its pockets. It's electric and dark type, much like Electivire and Luxray should have been. But they don't exist right now anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter about them at all. But it has, it's the Pikachu of this generation, but it actually has pretty decent stats, right? 95 attack and more importantly 97 speed is pretty good. Especially in a metagame where the majority of Pokemon are, around the 40 to base 80 like place, right? And then you have like Dragapult and Cinderace and Inteleon, and then it jumps back down. So this is actually not a bad speed tier at all for Morpeko. Its ability to Hunger Switch is super unique, but basically it changes between its full belly and its Hangry mode every single turn. So basically it gets hungry, and when it gets hungry, Aura Wheel becomes a dark type, and when it's satisfied, it becomes electric type. So its stab move, Aura Wheel, which is awesome. It's actually awesome, right? It's 110 base power, never misses, physical, raises your speed by +1 whenever you use it. I just can imagine this thing just rolling around on a little wheel and whatnot. It looks so sick too in the game. It's exactly what I just explained. And it changes between electric and dark type every single turn, right? Every single turn this Pokemon is out, it changes between electric and dark type because it's always hungry. That's it. It's basically all of us. I'm assuming y'all eat as much as I do. But yeah, the first set we have is a Choice Band set, and it's designed to hit hard with its base 95 attack. So Aura Wheel is going to be our first move no matter what. It's strong stab, it's no drawback. In fact, the only drawback about this is that sometimes a ground type can wall you if it's an electric type, but even then if it turns back into a dark type, you get that strong Aura Wheel versus it. Now we have Fire Fang on the set, and this really does depend on where you're using Morpeko. If you want to be a little bit cheeky and using it in an OU tier, Fire Fang allows you to break through Pokemon like Ferrothorn. However, in maybe like lower tiers, it'd be used for Pokemon like a Abomasnow or a Scavalier, or just being super effective in general versus grass types who would otherwise sponge up your Aura Wheel, right? At least on one turn. I think that's the cool thing about it too. Like you go out to a grass type to resist this Pokemon, or you go out to something that resists the first Aura Wheel, and the second one is super effective, right? So for example, maybe Dragapult. My boy, when we look for this editing, it's going to be very annoying, but maybe you'd go something like Dragapult and Aura Wheel. Now Morpeko gets the +1 speed. It's faster than Dragapult, and it hits it with a super effective secondary Aura Wheel, which is dark type because it's in Hangry mode. So anyway, Seed Bomb or Psychic Fangs, depending on the tier you're in, is next. Seed Bomb obviously helps you out with Seismitoad, Gastrodon, Quagsire, so just those bulky water and ground types like that are basically combined where you can't hit with your Aura Wheel. But Psychic Fangs, if you're playing in the UU tier, is good for Galarian Weezing and more importantly Como. I don't want to say more importantly, but it actually gives you a strong move versus Como, and you do have a good speed tier as well, right? Being faster than Pokemon like Obstagoon and Como in the UU tier in itself. And then Crunch is your last move, just giving you a strong Dark Stab. Dark is a good move in general. Like Dark typing is a good typing in general because there are very few answers to Dark typing. Basically it's no drawback, whereas Aura Wheel, obviously sometimes you cannot go for Aura Wheel because your opponent has either a ground type or they're switched around on the Dark type from there. So Crunch is right there. The next set we have is an offensive spinning set, right? Morpeko does have such a cool move pool. It has so many good moves. And honestly, like I said, guys, I've said this before, but don't take what I say, to heart, right? I think these are some of the better moves you can run on Choice Band set, but it has so many moves as well. I haven't even shown like Ice Fang and other things like that. So depending on the tier that this Pokemon ends up in, or depending what you're actually fighting in a metagame, feel free to use it on Morpeko. You could even use Wild Charge over Crunch if you don't like that as well. But I just think Aura Wheel is specifically better. But we have an offensive rapid spinning Morpeko set. Now you could either use Heavy Duty Boots or Life Orb. Life Orb will obviously boost the power of your actual attacks, whereas Heavy Duty Boots will allow you to come in the game unscathed by hazards, right? So if Sticky Web are up, Morpeko still keeps its 322 speed and it can rapid spin away the Sticky Web. But basically the set is Aura Wheel and Rapid Spin. That's the main reason to have this Morpeko set. The Rapid Spin support, being able to get rid of hazards for teammates. Seed Bomb or Stomping Tantrum, right? So Stomping Tantrum is interesting, especially if you're running like a Life Orb, because Stomping Tantrum allows you to 2-hit KO Colossal, which would otherwise tank your hits no matter what, right? So Stomping Tantrum gives you a nice little way of 2-hit KOing Colossal. And that's like the big thing behind that. But Seed Bomb is also, again, there for the potential ground types that want to try and wall you. But just being a strong move as well versus fire types in general. And it also can work in conjunction, like, for example, if your opponent has Lantern, right? And basically the way Stomping Tantrum works is that if you failed to use it, so like if you fail to use Stomping Tantrum, it will, I think it also counts towards immunities, I could be wrong, but basically if you go for Aura Wheel on a Lantern, it's going to have Volt Absorb, it's going to affect it, then you have Stomping Tantrum after to be super effective, that's fine too. But obviously Seed Bomb can do the exact same thing. The big thing about it is that you're a Rapid Spinner, like that's the reason why I had Stomping Tantrum on it, is because if you're a Rapid Spinner, you're able to beat the Stealth Rockers, right? That's something you want as a Rapid Spinner. So Stomping Tantrum allows you to threaten Colossal with a 2-hit KO, whereas Seed Bomb helps you out with those ground types. And then Crunch is your last move. Again, you can basically change between Heavy Duty Boots and Life Orb. Heavy Duty Boots allows you to do your job better as a Rapid Spinner, but Morpeko is no slouch. It does hit hard, so you could always use the Crunch, or excuse me, you could always use the Life Orb as well. So just to have that. But it's really just up to you. I always forget how like the term failed with Stomping Tantrum works, so forgive me if I'm wrong. I think somebody will correct me in the comments anyway, so make sure you read the comments anyway. And of course, these sets are both just running max speed and max attack. You want to maximize your damage output while also being able to do your thing, right? I think the cool thing about Morpeko is that it beats the spin blockers, right? It beats Gengar and it beats Jellicent. And I don't mean like in a 1v1 scenario. Obviously, Gengar outspeeds Morpeko. It can knock it out with like a Life Orb Dazzling Gleam or a Life Orb Focus Blast or a Life Orb Sludge Wave, right? And obviously, Jellicent, if it gets a chance to Will-O-Wisp Morpeko cannot knock it out. But in a situation where you're a Ghost type and your role is to come in on a Rapid Spinner, it's not going to be able to do it as easily on Morpeko because Morpeko threatens them both with either Aura Wheel or Crunch respectively, or Aura Wheel into a Hangry mode Aura Wheel. So that's the cool thing about Morpeko as a Rapid Spinner, being able to threaten Ghost types too. Like even like Delmize as a spinner, like you Crunch it for a 2-hit KO or you Aura Wheel into your stronger Aura Wheel. And the great thing is as well, every single time you go for Aura Wheel and both Rapid Spin, you're getting a speed raise too. So it gets even harder to revenge kill as a Pokemon. So yeah, maybe like that's just something to think about. That you could use it in that way. And the last set we have is more of a support Rapid Spinning set, and I think this set in particular works a little bit better with Toxic Spikes, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But basically, I think Protect is really interesting because Protect actually lets you go back and forth between your modes, right? So you can either be the Happy Morpeko, the Full Belly Morpeko, or you could be the Hungry Morpeko, right? The one that the one that gets the dark stab. So Protect allows you to go between those two sets, and what it actually allows you to do in itself is also Toxic Spike stall. So if you have Toxic Spikes, right, this is a set I pair with Toxic Spikers, right? So Galarian Weezing or Drapion are pretty good Toxic Spikers. A Selgor, I believe, can T-Spike too. I know it can T-Spike, but I don't know if it can T-Spike in this generation because I haven't used Toxic Spike. I only use Spike. I'm pretty sure it can still T-Spike in this generation. So Toxic Spikes, and with Protect, not only are you going back and forth between your Electric and your Dark mode, and I've actually seen this work in a situation where, like a Pokemon, for instance, like Obstagoon, would come in and you'd wear them down with Toxic Spike, but maybe you're in your Dark mode or your Hangry mode, so you wouldn't be able to hit them with an Aura Wheel, but you Protect, you're in your other mode, and then you can hit them with a neutral Aura Wheel at that. I do think that always going max attack, max speed, I think max speed is necessary, and we have Heavy Duty Boots on this as well in order to prevent hazards from damaging us, but Protect can work. Super Fang can also be slashed next to Protect if you want. Super Fang will obviously, in conjunction with Toxic Spikes, you're already doing 50% now to your opponent, right? You're doing 50% of their HP to them with Super Fang. And obviously, you only need Aura Wheel to hit Ghost types, so you don't have to worry about that. But it can work, and it can allow it to wear down opponents. Parting Shot is really cool, too. Parting Shot allows you to basically use Morpeko in a way to actually support the rest of the team as well. What Parting Shot does is you come in, and it lowers the target's attack and special attack by 1 stage, right? So if Morpeko comes out and your opponent has like a slower Pokemon, let's say it's Obstagoon, right? And you have a Galarian Weezing, but your Galarian Weezing at 70%. So if they go for Facade, you're 2-hit KO'd by Facade. If you Parting Shot, and you can't knock them out because they're at about like 80%, whatever. You Parting Shot, you switch on out of there, you lower their attack, you go Weezing. Weezing can now take 2 Facades or something in that scenario, right? So Parting Shot, and it's not only just Weezing, but like in a scenario where you need something to be able to take a hit, but it can't, Parting Shot helps out because it allows you to not only get on out of there, but also weaken the teammate, or weaken the opponent as well. And then, of course, you have Rapid Spin because this is using it more in conjunction with T-Spikes, but you also don't want Spikes up and Hazards up on your side of the field. So I think Protect is pretty cool. I like it a little bit more over Super Fang, and I feel like more offensive sets could run Protect as well, just going back and forth and choosing that. So potentially even on the Life Orb set, Protect can work. I've seen a few people use that as well. In terms of teammates, I think Morpeko seriously wants anything that could break ground types really nicely. So Mamoswine and Inteleon are great ones. So basically water types and ice types are really nice offensive partners. If you're using a defensive squad, I already mentioned that you want Toxic Spike partners, and I already mentioned some of those. And you also want something that can switch into ground type attacks too. Mantine is one of the mons that can switch into ground type attacks. Avalugg is one of the Pokemon that can switch into like Mamoswine's ground type attacks as well as ice type attacks. And Milotic is a bulky water as well that can take those hits if necessary. They also, in terms of getting up hazards yourself, Milotic can also Dragon Tail if you already have hazards up, and it appreciates Morpeko getting rid of Toxic Spikes on the field and Spikes on the field, even though it does have Recover. And also a spin blocker like your own Ghost type, like maybe Jellicent or Gengar can also work, because this Morpeko thrives on maybe Toxic Spike being up, right? It doesn't have to. Like I said, you can run Aura Wheel, Protect on an offensive set, like even one of the Life Orb sets that I talked about earlier. But Protect is just really nice for going back and forth between that. And as you can see, all these sets have max attack, max speed, because honestly, even if you maximize HP on this Pokemon, you don't tank hits, man, because of your base 58 defenses and base 58 HP. So there's no real point in making a spread like that, at least in this. Maybe in a draft league where you actually see exactly what's about to be attacking you, it could work out. But yeah, that's basically what I have. With Morpeko, I think you always go max speed with this Pokemon because, like I said, you have such a great speed tier. Being faster than some key threats like Obstagoon, I think, is the biggest one. But thank you very much for watching. I will have a Pokemon Showdown live going up today later where I feature this Pokemon. But, of course, if you did enjoy, feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye, my friends.